Workforce Investment Board. I'd like to welcome everybody to today's important workshop, Surviving Job Loss, Now What? Before we get started, if I could just ask, who do we have on the line? My name is Michael Willison. I'm the Business Service Rep here, or Business Service Coordinator for the Finger Lakes Workforce Investment Board. I see that Susan is joining us. Susan, welcome.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Great. And then we have another, it's Moto. Who's the other person that I see on your screen is Moto? Is that? Hi, Moto. Well, in any case, thanks for joining us all today. Just a couple of things I want to kind of housekeeping I'd like to go over. Here's a couple of tips to get the most out of this presentation. If you can't hear any audio, make sure your speakers and headphones are plugged in and on, and check your audio settings. Please remain muted during the presentation. There will be time for questions at the end. Feel free to use the chat box to ask questions. This webinar will be recorded, so please be aware of your surroundings if you choose to have your video on. Leanne, are we recording? Great, thank you. If you get disconnected, please rejoin. You get out of it what you put into it. And with that, I'd like to introduce our presenter for today. Ann Haust has been a workforce development counselor for Ontario County Workforce Development for over 5 years. As a counselor, she helps job seekers, students, and youth realize skills they didn't know they had. Additionally, she counsels people at all stages and helps them match with the tools and supports necessary to accelerate in their careers. With no further ado, I'd like to introduce Ann Haust. Ann, thanks. Take it away.
Hello, thank you for joining us today. So it looks like we have a small group, which is perfect. So yeah, just certainly stop me, or if you have anything to add, feel free to put it in the chat box. And I'll be happy to talk about some things. So yes, I'm from Ontario County, from Finger Lakes Works there. I'm an employment counselor. So today we'll be talking about surviving job loss. So I hope you find it helpful. Some tips with how to move forward. Receiving the news that you've been laid off is terrible. So, maybe you're shocked after working at the same company for many years, pouring your heart and soul into your career, or, maybe you saw the writing on the wall. Either way, uncertainty can be paralyzing. So I want to help you find some steps that will help you move forward. And these feelings are completely normal. Just know that it's not your fault. It is important to take some time to digest the news, take some time to grieve before you can fully move forward. So I have a quote here. I'm sure you've heard this before. When one door closes, another one opens, can be advice that you receive lots of times throughout your life. But oftentimes we look so regretfully upon the door that is closed that we do not see the one that has opened for us. So it's hard to see this when you're right in the middle of coping with job loss. It's hard to see the opportunities that might be placed in front of you at that point in time. So it is important to take some time to heal because it is a loss. You might be holding on to feelings of betrayal and anger, sadness, those feelings do have a way of coming out. I've interviewed many people, and those feelings have a way of coming out in the most subtle but noticeable ways, even if it's just in your tone of voice. Others hear it and it can be completely damaging to your job search. You can absolutely grieve still. If no one has died, it's still a loss. But usually with the when you're dealing with the death of a loved one, people around you will validate your loss. They will help you to understand your pain. They'll offer support and comfort. But when you're faced with the loss of your career, you might find yourself asking for that same support and not getting it. Other people don't always realize the pain of a job loss. They don't validate your feelings, and this can make you feel alone. So how do you make yourself feel better? Validate your own emotions. Be kind to yourself, of course. Try to engage in something positive. Perhaps starting to write your resume will help you see all the skills and abilities that you do have to offer, and will help you see yourself in a positive way. You may even find yourself going through all the stages of grief, such as denial at first, anger, bargaining, depression, and then finally acceptance. So you want to allow yourself the time to get through those stages. My last bit of advice is to talk to someone who may be a good listener. Come visit us at one of our career centers, ask to see a counselor. We're here for you. That is what we do. We want to help folks. In the Finger Lakes region, we have 5 career centers. So there's probably one very close to your home. So we can talk about where they're located if you have questions about that and you're not sure a little bit later. So another quote that always sticks with me, life is 10% of what happens and 90% of how I react to it. I can't say more about this quote. It speaks to me volumes, what it means, but how you handle what has happened to you is 100% in your control. So you've lost your job. You've taken the time to grieve. So now what? It's time to come up with a game plan. So what you'll want to do is set some goals. We'll talk a little bit more specifically about this later. So network, get out your contact list, get out there and talk to people. That's typically the best way to get connected and find another job is just to talk to people. People want to help people. So the more folks you talk to, chances are that it'll lead you to a career that you're looking for. Take inventory of what you have to offer. Like I mentioned before, starting your resume, writing some of those positive things about yourself may be helpful. This may be a good time to consider a new line of work. Let's see. Right now, likely your biggest worry is money. So money is the topic that scares most unemployed people the most. What if you don't have enough money to make ends meet? Just know that you do have options. Remember that money you stashed away for a rainy day? Well, it's raining. Try to reduce your spending or find extra money to reduce the gap. You can ask creditors to reduce your bills or get some help from a credit counselor. One of the first things that you may want to do is to apply for unemployment insurance benefits. You can do this right online with New York State Department of Labor. I've put their website up on the screen there. So they've changed it a little bit. So labor.ny.gov will get you right there where you need to be, and some advice maybe to follow the Department of Labor on social media if you can. Things are constantly changing these days. So it's a good way to keep up to date with some changes. And again, just get some help. You're not alone. It can be completely overwhelming with how to deal with job loss. What's your first step? Another tip may be to get organized, schedule some time on your calendar specific for job searching activities. Treat that time as you would any work commitment. Be consistent with the amount of time you spend each day and week on job search activities. This will help you to keep the momentum going. It's a good idea to have a plan before you start searching for specific jobs. Your plan should be flexible, outline what you want to do and how you expect to do it. Set a schedule or routine and stick to it. For example, by 8 a.m., get dressed, do your online job search from 9 to 11. By what I mean by that is sending out 2 applications or resumes. Have specific goals. Your break and lunch is from until 1:30, and then your 1:30 to 3 o'clock is for any outside appointments and interviews, and that's your full day. Find a way to stay organized, maybe a notebook, a calendar, Excel spreadsheet. Keep track of jobs you've applied for, login information, who you need to follow up with, and appointments that you have coming up with a DOL or interviews or anything like that. So I have some websites up on this slide here. So I hope to go through a few of them and show you some of them. So this could be a good time to consider a new line of work. Remember, you're not your job. Before losing your job, you may have defined yourself by it, but there's more to you than your resume. So this could be your opportunity for your next big thing. So you might want to write down a list of what your dream job might actually what it might look like. What mattered more to you? Was it more money, or is a flexible schedule more important to you? How do you want to spend your time in the future? Do you want to spend it supervising others, or do you want to spend more time with customers? So with a list of new real requirements, you may find openings that you've never considered before. So I do want to take some time to show you a couple of these websites. So bear with me here as I kind of switch my screens. So I'm going to go first to ONA Online. Okay, so this can be a good website to use if, let me just move us over here. If you want to explore a new career. So you'll see up here in the top right corner, there is an occupational quick search. So you can put in any occupation up here in this quick search. If you want to learn more about what it's like to be an astronaut, you can type in there astronaut, and it'll tell you the day-to-day tasks that are associated with being an astronaut, what kind of salary you can expect, those kind of things. So I just went ahead and I picked dental assistant. I'm just thinking of something that's local here, then available. So I'm going to click this little arrow so I can learn more about what a dental assistant is. So it's going to go ahead and find occupations that it thinks, I might be interested in. So it's done a pretty good job of coming up with a match for me. So dental assistance is the #1 item on my list here. You'll see that some of them have a little sunshines. What that means is that they have a bright outlook. So that means that the career is growing. So that's important too. If you're thinking about switching careers, you want to set yourself up for success and find a career that has growth. Let's see, so let's click on that. So now it gives me a summary report for dental assistants. It tells me all about it. So sample reported job titles here gives you an idea. Gives me the tasks that a dental assistant may have to do. Now I can click this little plus button and it opens it up and tells me even more. So, you know, maybe you need to apply fluoride to customers. So you really get an idea of what it looks like. So technology that you might have to use, knowledge, skills, and each one of these opens up a little bit further. So these skills here that are listed typically tend to be your transferable skills. So those are the ones that you take with you from job to job. You know, say you were working as a pizza cook, and now you're a hairdresser. The two different careers, but the transferable skills are the ones like active listening, speaking, customer service. So each one of those jobs, you need to have customer service skills, just in a different way. So that's always helpful to put on, and very important if you're switching careers completely. Abilities, work activities, it goes on and on. I'm going to scroll all the way down here to the bottom, which is the part that most people are interested in. Gives you an idea of what kind of education you'll need. And keep going. All right, so down here at the bottom, what you definitely want to pay attention to is wages and employment trends. So you'll see here that we're looking at the dental assistant. So median wages for 2019, it's a little bit behind, was $19.27 an hour. Now, keep in mind that that's a national average. So you can drill it down here and look at state wages and local wages. And I'll show you in a minute another good website that looks specifically at the Finger Lakes region. So that will be helpful to look at too. Definitely pay attention to projected growth. So this particular career is growing faster than average at 5 to 7%. So that's a good sign. That means that there'll be more jobs opening in the future. Again, you can look at state trends and whatnot. So if you go all the way down here to the bottom, it links you up with some more websites. This Occupational Outlook Handbook is another really good, reliable source of information. Also connected up with the Department of Labor. It gives you more information about the job outlook for that career, how much is growing, and more detailed information. It even has some videos in there. You know, somebody can come to me and say, I want to be a nurse. I'm not going to do a good job explaining that to somebody because I've never been a nurse, but this Occupational Outlook Handbook does do a good job of that. So if you're really unsure of what occupation you're looking into, that would be a good place to look.
Leanne?
Yes.
I just want to add, this is such a good resource. Not only can it tell you, give you some options for the future, but as you're writing up that resume, I've used this to help me with the wording of my previous job. Because, you know, even though you do it every day, some of these lists of skills and activities really and tasks can really help you as you're trying to piece together what that job was before you got laid off. So it's a great resource.
Absolutely. And what you can do if you're writing your resume is to use that occupation quick search and try to find the exact title for what job it is you're applying for. And then kind of buzz through here and say, oh, okay, I've done that before, or I've done that before, and put those things on your resume too. So it is a really good spot to get the ball rolling when you're trying to do your resume. It gets the thinking going. Okay. All right, so I'm done with that one. Let me show you the next one. My little screen sharing thing is right in my way here. Come on. Oh, got it. Okay. So this one is, I think it was the next bullet point down on my slideshow. And I mentioned it a little bit earlier. So New York State Department of Labor website puts together occupational or employment projections, and they divide it up by all the regions of the state. So this is another good spot to look if you're trying to switch careers, or even if you have a job in mind that you want to apply for, and you know how they sometimes will ask you, like, how much salary do you want? And that's always a tricky question to answer because you don't want to sell yourself short. So you can go here. It will open a ginormous Excel spreadsheet, so it'll probably take a few minutes to open. But I went ahead and opened it here. You click on this statewide and regional long-term occupational projections, and it opens up this Excel spreadsheet. So let me show you what it looks like. Okay, so I'm just going to make it bigger so that you can see what I'm seeing. So, so we're in Excel now. You'll see at the bottom there are a bunch of tabs. So this is New York State, the first tab. But I'm going to come over here. I assume you folks both live in the Finger Lakes region. I'm going to click on that. So when I mean huge, I'm not kidding. This sheet goes on and on for days, it seems like. Pretty much any job title that you can think of is listed here. So I'm just going to go ahead and pick one and kind of explain it. So let's go with farmers, ranchers, and other agricultural managers. Maybe a crazy one, but it just jumped out at me. Okay, so as you tab over on the screen, I'm just going to tab over. So it tells me employment in number of people from 2016, you see the tabs at the top, to 2026. Okay, so you see the difference there. So that's a net change of 240. So it means that it's growing. Oops, you're not coming with me here. Oh, hang on a second. Okay, I'm going to keep going over. Tells me how many people exited the labor force. Tells me the annual wages for 2019, so it's a little bit behind. And of course, it doesn't give me the one I picked doesn't give me the wages. So let's look at the next one down here. Construction managers. So it gives me the mean, median, and entry level wages yearly for construction manager. Okay, experienced lists the wages there. If I keep going over, tells me I need to have a bachelor's degree, no experience in the related occupation, what kind of training I need. So you might need some on-the-job training or a bachelor's degree. And if you go all the way to the end, Another item that you want to pay attention to is whether or not it is listed as favorable. And what they mean by that is the occupation growing? And again, you want to set yourself up for an occupation that's going up, not going down, because you want to have jobs out there when you're looking. Okay. So this huge spreadsheet you can learn all about. It's fun to look at what you did before. If you fell into the range of what they were paying before. So it's really some good information. Okay, get rid of that. Okay, so if you're sitting here saying, I have no idea what I want to do next, there's tons of tools out there that will help you to, maybe help you decide, or maybe give you some different information or some insightful information about yourself. So this one's really fun. Let me open this up so you can see the actual URL. This is really quick. It takes no time to do this. It's completely free. And we use it all the time here. So it's called mynextmove.org. And you would click on the ONET interest profiler is how I got there. So it's going to give you an assessment, and it's only 60 questions. And you just answer the questions based on what your interests are, not necessarily what you know how to do or what you can do. It's just, is that interesting to you? So you go through, you answer all the questions, and it asks some pretty wacky ones like, how do you feel about building kitchen cabinets? And when you're going through it, you kind of are saying, what in the world? This is crazy. But it always does a really good job of matching you up with careers that you are interested in. I'm pleasantly surprised by this every time. And then when you're done, it gives you a full list of careers that match your personality. And then it links you back up with that ONET website that I showed you earlier, where you can do some research about the wages and employment trends. So if nothing else, it's fun to learn a little bit about yourself. It's quick, it's easy, and pretty painless. So that's a fun one. And then one last thing I wanted to show you is I stumbled on this the other day and I thought it was really cool. The Department of Labor has just went around and redid their website tremendously. So I was looking for something else and I found this. It's a self-sufficiency employment estimator. So it's like a calculator that you can plug in your family size, where you live, like what your basic needs, like housing, food, healthcare, transportation, childcare, that kind of stuff. And it gives you a number of what you need to make in order to make ends meet in our region. And it goes by county. So like Ontario County, it's different than if you answered all the same questions differently and you live in Seneca County. So that was kind of neat. Okay, I think I got them all. Let me go back here to my PowerPoint. Any questions about any of the websites? Okay, so one I didn't show was this career one-stop, kind of the same idea as all the other ones, where you can go in and just do some research about some different careers. Okay, so let's talk about setting goals. So setting SMART goals, once you have your goal in mind, write them down, post them on the fridge somewhere where you can see them and look at them every day. There's a lot of that goes into this. When you look at it every day, there's a word for it, and I can't think of it right now, where you just kind of start to, when you see it every day, you start to think of ways daily of how to reach that goal. So that's why I'm saying post it somewhere where you're going to look at it all the time. It has a way of just coming true. So goals, you want them to be simple, measurable, attainable, relevant, and have a time limit. So for example, I want to live forever. Is it simple? Yes. Is it measurable? No. What is forever? Is it attainable? No, you can't really live forever. Is it relevant? Yes, I really do want to live forever. And is there a time limit? No, because what really is forever? So by following the guide up here, the SMART goal, long term, you could say, I want to live to be 100 by being healthier. So how am I going to measure it? I'll lose 10 pounds by April 1st. Well, that's tomorrow. That's not really going to happen, but I'll lose 10 pounds by May 1st. How am I going to get there? I'm going to exercise for 30 minutes 4 times per week. I'll totally refrain from candy bars and pastries. And I'll switch from ice cream to non-fat yogurt. So long term, I'll reach my optimum BMI by March 1st. I'll be in shape to run a 5K by October 31st and a 10K by July 1st. I'm going to see how that's very different. How does it relate to employment? Your goal could be, I want to get a job, so I have $1,000 saved by December 15th. And how you're going to get there. I'm going to apply for 2 appropriate jobs per day, create a master resume by April 1st, and attend 1 career-related workshop per month. Make 2 networking contacts per week, and obtain a suitable job by May 1st. So those all have time limits. It's measurable. So you know how you're going to get there. It's not just saying I'm going to get a job, but it's the steps of how are you going to do that. So start with at least one career goal, and focus on that. Assess your skills, strengths, interests, and list the types of jobs that match them. Have your application information ready along with your updated resume and cover letter. Research businesses or employers you want to work for and contact them. Network with people in the field, support groups, job clubs, and information. Research those businesses that you want to apply for. Check them out on LinkedIn. If you're not already using LinkedIn, see if you have any network connections that work for the companies that you're interested in. Definitely keep a record of your job search. Your job search will take time. Alrighty. All right, so next, show employers that you have the right stuff. You have skills and information to build a powerful resume. We do have a few other videos posted on our YouTube channel on some of these topics, like if you're interested in interviewing or resume, learning more about that, or actually we have quite a few topics now there. So check those out. Create a job hunting plan that's measurable and attainable. Update your contact information. Make sure that you have a voicemail box that is set up and ready to receive messages. Give yourself a call, see what happens. I call people all day long, all the time, and I cannot tell you how many times people's voicemail box is either full or not set up. So employers aren't going to take the time to track you down. So just make sure your voicemail box is empty. Make sure you have a professional email account that you do check often. When you search for work, make a plan. Again, just reviewing Monday through Friday, send out 2 targeted resumes per day, reach out to 2 network contacts per week. Looking for employment is a full-time job. Prepare for your interview, develop star stories. We have more on that on our interviewing workshop video that's on our YouTube channel. And again, you are not alone. We have 5 career centers in the Finger Lakes region. Each has career counselors. We're certainly here and happy to help. So I mentioned a couple of times our website. So if you're interested in any of the other videos, they're posted, they're free. You don't need to sign up or anything like that. It's fingerlakesworks.com. There's a YouTube channel. You would look for the YouTube logo up at the top right of the screen. And we have a few of them there, and there's always more coming. So definitely check that out. You can subscribe so that you can stay up to date with what's going on. And if you do have social media, I would highly recommend following Finger Lakes Works on Facebook, because they do post for upcoming workshops, upcoming job fairs, any current events that are happening. So it's a good way to stay up to date with all the stuff that we have going on. So that's all I have for today. Does anyone have any questions or anything I didn't cover? Or
you can unmute yourself when I ask a question. Nobody wants to, go ahead, Susan.
I actually don't have a question, but I thought this was very informative. I knew some of it, but learned some new things also to go with those. So I thank you very much for offering this today.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Leanne. I just want to put a couple of shameless plugs. Leanne mentioned our career centers. We have 5 career centers in the 4-county area. You can go to fingerlakesworks.com, find out where those career centers are. You can, once you've gone through, as you go through this whole process, and it is a long process, you can use us at any step of the way. So, say you've gone to this workshop, you want to start working on your resume, you may want to, you figured out what your next career goal is going to be, but you may need some training. We have training grants available for folks who are eligible. And we even have online training that is free. We have Skill Up Finger Lakes, and we have a new program called Coursera that's offered through the New York State Department of Labor. So there are so many resources for folks to use. And Leanne did a great job explaining what some of those resources are. So Leanne, again, I want to thank you on behalf of the Finger Lakes Workforce Investment Board. And if there's no more questions, any other questions, comments?
Are there services virtually right now through the career centers?
Say that one more time.
Services virtually through the career centers right now?
You could go in and meet with somebody, or you can converse with them via phone, via Zoom, all sorts of different ways. So, and then we have, as Leanne said, on our YouTube page, we have various workshops. We have an introduction to some of those training programs like Skill Up Finger Lakes, so you can learn how to register online and then how to access those programs and services online as well. So yes, we have a lot a lot more than we did just a year ago. So, and if you have ever any questions, you can give us a call. Those phone numbers are on our website at the different career centers nearest you.
Okay, thank you.
Great.
If you're connected up, maybe collecting unemployment, you may be matched up virtually with a labor services representative too. They may interview you virtually. But yeah, like Mike said, just reach out to us and we'll point you in the right direction if there's anything specifically you're interested in.
Okay, thank you. I didn't know what was happening on that front, so that's helpful too. Thank you so much.
Thank you again for coming. And Leanne, thanks, Ann. Great job, as always. Thank you.
Thank you.